All right, here we go. Here's the next step to our kaleidoscope. After you get all three of your designs made and you use those mirrors quite a bit to help you design and make adjustments, we have to select one. Many times all three are just great. Other times one kind of stands out, and many times you have to flip a coin because two of them look really good. And I'm going to select this one, and I'll show you what the next step is here. You're going to get another page just like this one, and it's going to be blank. There's a bug flying around. Um, it's going to be blank, and you're going to take the one that you selected and put it underneath your blank page and trace it 4 times. Okay, so you can see how I have traced it. Look at that little bug flying around. I've traced it 4 times nice and lightly. Okay, also you can maybe see how I have taken this bottom design and let it bump outside the border right there, and I did it in a slightly different way down here, and there's pictures of this on the slideshow that you can see. This one I kept just like the original. All right, the next thing we do is we're going to start to pay attention to the labels, the complementary and analogous and all that. And here's how that works. It doesn't matter which one you do first, but let's say we're going to do complementary first. And what that is that are the two opposite colors on the color wheel, which we discussed in Art 1. So this one has blues and oranges. It could be reds and greens. It could be yellows and violets. That's up to you. It's completely up to you. And we'll talk about the fading and blending and all that in just a moment. The analogous colors are the 2 or 3 colors next to each other on the color wheel. Usually it is warmer colors or cooler colors. And this one chose to be warmer colors. Monochromatic, that's just using one color, and then you can use some white and black along with that to help make it darker and lighter. Don't use yellow. You can't get dark with yellow. Then we have one that says free choice. That means you can just do any colors anywhere. You don't have to You don't have to follow a particular pattern or scheme as you would on the other ones. All right, so this is kind of what yours is going to be like when you finish this part of the assignment, this part of the process. And you will get a separate grade for your 3 designs and your 4 color schemes. You'll hand those in together. And then you'll move on to the next step. But I wanted to show you a few details on the coloring aspect of it. Let me get that in focus. One thing I want you to be aware of is that it's really recommended and required that you have at least 90% gradations and blends. That means almost all of your coloring somehow is going to go dark to light, blend into one color or another, and that sort of thing. And you can kind of see how I'm just starting to capture some of those things here. This shows a little bit more. If you have 2 things or 3 things that are the same color, you need to go dark to light, then jump dark to light to get that contrast. This area in here, say I went a little bit lighter in the center. This red fades away and it fades into orange and it fades into yellow, and that yellow fades into green. You don't have to do all those color changes, but that's the kind of thing that will make these look way, way better. We are going to just not do flat colors. See these 3 flat colors, they hardly distinguish themselves. If anything, if you have 2 colors that are similar to each other, you can do that idea of reflected light, or leave a little light, tiny little light space, so these 2 shapes can look different from each other. I even on this one put a little bit of violet on the red to get that red a little darker to help with that contrast. Another thing that will happen a lot is if you have shapes next to each other, you're going to have to go dark to light and then again go dark to light right next to it, so you can see where the edges are to a lot of these. If you're going to blend one color into another, remember how important it is to make sure that your first color fades away. So it's important in this drawing to do lots of rich bold color and some soft color as well. So if I want that to blend into orange, now I'm going to go the opposite direction and let this color fade away. You see a red to blue fade right up there as well. So remember that idea of the first color always fading away. Here you can capture the idea of some highlights, very much like we did on the snowboard. You can capture some cast shadows like we did on the snowboard. But here again, you can see where I'm starting to really just work a lot of the fading. One thing I do not want you to do is do dark outlines, just an outline. You'll see some samples that show that as well, and we'll point that out as well. I want to show you a couple that are just beginning. Now check that out, how it's dark to light and then dark to light with two different colors, but it's still dark to light. There's a little highlight kind of going through the center of this element. This violet blends into red right over here, and that red goes back into that opening. Here I'm going a little bit darker with the red, letting it fade away, so this element will pop forward. Here's another one that's not finished yet. Let's move out a little bit. So you can see all these little flower petals have what I was doing just a moment ago. Go a little bit darker next to light. And over here, that red gets a little bit darker. The blue gets a little bit darker as it goes underneath. So I hope this helps. Again, there'll be samples that we can look at in class. Keep doing those good shading rules, little circles that overlap a lot and that roam around in kind of that spiral effect. Remember, no scratchy shading on this at all. All right, there you go. Now you can start coloring your color schemes.